Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to talk about securing mobile devices and technology, this is going to be the chapter 1, the evolution of data communication. Now, the content will be the emergence of data communication, wired data communication and wireless data communication. Now, what is data communication network? A data communication network consists of, terminals, mobiles, computers, switches, routers, cables, and other components that basically form the communication network. The example of the endpoint nodes could be anything like, different gadgets, devices, wireless printers or network printers, security locks, faxes, and so on, and any similar kind of items. Now, in the start of the modern data communication, the modern data communication networks are based on a robust physical infrastructure, very, very sophisticated software tools and platform, and very fast transmission technology. Like we have the Wi-Fi, we have the WiMAX, which is a broadband fixed wireless network for medium speed internet access. We have the cellular network. We're going to talk a little bit about it later on. We have 3G, 4G network, LTE, which is the fourth generation 4G, long-term evolution, and it's used for high-speed internet for mobiles, and the latest one, the 5G network. Now, let's talk about the wired data communication networks. The wired data communication networks can be classified into three major categories, based on the medium of data transmission, such as the copper cable network here. Now, a good example is the DSL. Here we have the coax cable network, which is, in old days, it used to connect computers in a local area network, and was able to carry data up to 12 megabit per second, which is very low speed. Later on, the coax cable got replaced by the twisted pair copper wires, which until now we're still using it at home. Like in my home, I have wireless and wired network. And the last one is the fiber optic network, okay? And it's used for transmitting data, voice, video signals at once at very, very high speed. The throughput of the fiber optics has increased significantly through multiple latest technologies such as the wavelength division multiplexing, WDM, and DWDM, which is the dense wavelength division multiplexing. Now, the fiber optic cables are now extensively used by the service providers for the last mile distribution lines, between the customer home optical distribution network, optical network terminal, and the optical line terminal, OLT. Now, the wired data communication networks also has, like the major networks for data communication. Now, it is currently being used in the marketplace, is being referred to fiber to the X, FTTX service. There are multiple types of services, like, for example, FTTO, which is fiber to home, FTTH, fiber to home network. I'm sorry, this is to office network. FTTB, this is fiber to building network. FTTC, fiber to curb network, you know, and uh, and these are the type of, like I said, these are the type of optic-based FTTK services found here. Now, types of network topologies. There are four major types of network topologies. The bus topology, tree topology, ring topology, star, mesh topology. Now, you could always combine two or more types of topologies, by the way, in a single network. We call it the hybrid topology. Now, the hybrid topology is also can be considered as the sixth topology of the net of the data communication. Now, let's look at some of them briefly. Like here, for example, we have the bus topology. You see that there is basically a network connection method in which all nodes and components are connected together. The problem with the bus topology in the 90s, like if somebody disconnect one cable, the whole network will go down. Plus, it's a very slow speed. Now, the tree topology, if you look at it here, it is multiple network elements, okay, that connects to its connects to its upper one right here element in a tree topology. Now, this topology here is mostly used in a corporate network with multiple locations. The local machines are connected to the main node, which connects to the upper one right here. So each one they'll connect here, and finally it connects to the upper one main node. Okay. Now, when we talk about the ring topology, each network element here, that's one network element, is connected in a ring shape here. And so basically, the first one connected to the second and the third, and the last one will connect back to the first one. Now, the star topology, that's what we have at home. A very common topology of network connectivity as done in the local networks. We all have it. We have our own switch, and we have all these twisted pair cables coming from it, connected to different type of devices we have at home. Now, the mesh topology, if you look at it from here, you can see that each node is connected somehow, okay, with the other. Now, that's known for being reliable and redundant path operation. That's okay. So in this topology, each element is connected to the other with redundant paths to communicate. Now, this is often used in the mission critical networks. Now, like I said, the hybrid, when you have multiple different type of network here. Here we have, the star. Here we have the tree. So this is very common practice to use multiple topologies in the modern data communication networks because it provides information integrity in a complex corporate network. Now, what is the major data communication protocol? TCP. We all know TCP is reliable and connection oriented because it supports retransmission and error detection capabilities. Now, the UDP is known as a connectionless protocol. Okay, it does not support error detection or retransmission like TCP. So UDP is basically used for real-time application like voice, videos, and so on. And the third one, the IP, this protocol contains a format of addresses, like source and destination addresses there. Application protocols, example like FTP, HTTP, these protocols to communicate with the transport and the network layers for communication for data transmission. Now, data link and physical protocols, many protocols are used for the identification of the address of physical node, type of signal, medium of transport, and many another issues. Like some of the examples that you will hear about is something called medium access control MAC. Here we have the CSMA CD, which stands for Carrier Sense Multiple Access with Collision Detection. That's for wired network. Now, for wireless, it's called Carrier Sense Multiple Access with Collision Avoidance. And then we have the Ethernet protocols technology. Now, the wireless data communication network, the first wireless LAN protocol was released by IEEE Group for wireless network back in 1977. And basically, the frequency was just 2.4 gigahertz, very slow speed. Now, and the first release named as IEEE 802.11. Other releases like 802.11a, 11b, 11n, 11g, and 11ax. Now, all were released, these all were released to fulfill the upcoming transmission technologies demand and enhance the data throughput and for higher efficiency. So, these wireless LAN standards uses 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and the last one, 6 gigahertz. Okay, which is this is the latest release, the 802.11ax, which is very high speed. Now, the cellular data communication network. Let's talk about the cellular networks. Just give just a brief idea. So the cellular networks are different from standard wireless LAN because it has cells. All cells coordinate and collaborate with other cells when somebody is driving, talking over the phone. So basically, this cell will hand off your call to the next cell once you reach the next cell coverage area. So that shifting is called handoff. Now, if you look at the other definitions called the frequency reuse. Now, a cellular network reuses the wireless channel in other nearby cell again and again and again. That's what we call it, the frequency reuse. Now, the frequency used is determined based on the cell structure, the quality of service, and the technology being implemented in the cellular networks. Now, let's look at some of the example here. Now, to form a cellular network, first you need to have like a cell size with the shape and the power are stated, and then the cellular cluster is designed. Now, so what does that mean? Now, the cellular cluster is basically a combination of multiple cells here, okay, or multiple base stations that form a service area according to the demand and different frequency channels that are designed to those individual base station. And that's what we call it, the base transceiver station, BTS. Okay, now each one of these BTS has three sectors providing the frequency signals through directed antennas. These are directed antennas. Focus on specific area. So the combination of BTS forms a cluster called N when it comes to frequency design. You know, that's it. That's what they use. The N is for designing and frequency designing and so on. So the N is basically, look at it as the size of the cluster or number of base stations that form a cluster. So so right now there is something else that is another important factor affect the designing and the planning of the frequency reuse, among all these cells, is the radius of the cell itself here. That's another important factor. Normally, the frequency reuse forms a complete wireless service coverage area. That's a whole coverage area right here. Okay, in a way that one frequency works without impacting the or interfering with the same frequency used in another cell. So this and this, they do not interfere with each other. That's what it means. Now, now the wireless network here uses electromagnetic waves of different frequency. That's obviously different than the wired network here. You know, so different frequency to carry the signals from one point to another. Now, there are waves of different frequency for different type of wireless. Like satellite communication is different than microwave links. Okay. Now, for example, like even the satellite communication, they have different bands of frequencies for different type of application. Like they have the LS band, which is a frequency range between 1 and 2. S band, the frequency range from between 2 and 4. We have the C band, it's 4 till 8 gigahertz. X band, KU band, KE band. Okay, so these are different bands with different frequency ranges here. Now, the GSM cellular network uses, for example, frequency of 900 megahertz. The Wi-Fi at home uses 2.4, 5 giga, and 6 giga frequency bands. Now, types of wireless network. Well, the first one here we have the wireless wide area network. This covers wider areas for the connection of the computers or any nodes to communicate with each other. Like mobile cellular network. The mobile cellular network, as we've seen in the previous slide, is a combination of small cells, and they are connected and controlled by something called Mobile Switching Center (MSC) and the base station controller the BSC and the Mobile Switching Center. Now, the wireless LAN, that's the one we use at home and office. It can range coverage area up to 300 feet. Now, that's the maximum length for outdoor access. For indoor, it's just 150 feet. The last one, here we have the wireless personal area network. A good example is the Bluetooth, the near field communication. And this is the reference. And thank you so much for listening.